This November, 24 teams of the best adventure racers in the world will take part in the Outdoor Quest, a 4-day challenge that demands individual excellence and selfless teamwork. This year, the unofficial World Championship of Adventure Racing will arrive in the beautiful city of Lijiang in Yunnan province, southwest China. Situated in one of the most spectacular regions on Earth, Lijiang is a World Heritage Site, and the athletes will enjoy a unique sporting and cultural experience during their stay.
So, what does the Outdoor Quest entail? Each team has 4 athletes from both sexes, and the 4 days of racing are split into stages. The athletes are tested in 7 disciplines in all. There's mountain biking, which includes some challenging climbs and exhilarating descents, both on and off-road.
There's trail running through some of the most rugged terrain in the world, with the athletes able to enjoy the physical challenge in spectacular natural surroundings.
Put those 2 disciplines together and you have Team Biathlon, a technically demanding event in which the 4 athletes share 2 bikes. The team need to plan their race carefully to ensure that all members finish the course together.
Perhaps the most technically demanding event, however, is inline skating. Some, especially the cross-country skiers, are naturals. But for others, it's a new skill that has to be mastered.
And of course, there is the water element. Some of the world's best paddlers will be in Lijiang, enjoying a unique opportunity to navigate the Yangtze River in double kayaks. Though there isn't always time to enjoy the view from above the water.
Oh, 真是很不幸。
One unique aspect of the challenge is paddling in native boats, which is often one of the toughest sections of the race.
Finally, there's the adventure section, which can encompass anything that really gets the adrenaline flowing. The 7 sports of the Outdoor Quest will challenge the participants' fitness, teamwork and mental strength, as well as their courage.
The quest began in 1997, when Xichang in Sichuan province staged the first race. Anticipation was high for all 17 teams, but it was the favourites, Eco-Internet, who achieved a leading start. However, not far behind was the all-American team, Team Scar, whose superiority in biking and running saw them take over the podium position on day 3. As well as getting accustomed to the 7 sporting disciplines of this first Outdoor Quest, there were cultural differences to adjust to. The locals had never witnessed an event like this before. Neither had some of these finely tuned athletes, who combine their professional participation with a touch of sightseeing. With spectacular views of the surrounding countryside, who could blame them? The winners, slightly unexpectedly, were Team Scar, beating the favourites Team Eco-Internet by less than 2 minutes in a thrilling inaugural competition.
In 1998, the quest moved south to Dali in Yunnan province, an outdoor adventurer's dream. Once again, Eco-Internet, led by champion kayaker Ian Adamson, were the preferred team to capture the prime position. But hopes were also high for Team Miles 7, on home ground and in second place, 3 minutes behind the leaders, Team Polar Spirit, after day 1. But day 2 and 3 proved to be a testing time for the Chinese team, and as the race evolved, it was the all-Finnish team that began to shine in every discipline. Still in contention were Eco Internet, plus 1997 winners, Team Scar. But on day 4, Polar Spirit set a supreme pace, covering the 50-kilometre of team biathlon, trail running, off-road inline skating and lake paddling in 3 hours and 23 minutes. The dominant force of Team Polar Spirit won with a staggering 26-minute lead.
Beautiful Dali, situated between the snow-capped Shanshan Mountains and Erhai Lake, was once again chosen for the location of the 1999 Outdoor Quest. But this year, a longer and tougher course. Athletes who like to push their bodies to the limits appear to take this all in their stride. Crowds again turned out to cheer on all the teams throughout the 4 days of racing, and they weren't disappointed with what they witnessed. As the athletes battled their way across beautiful rural farmlands and through traditional villages, the real contenders for the prize slot came to light. By the end of day 3, the event could have been claimed by Venture 4, Team Ear or Team Beaver Creek Asia Star. However, on day 4, Team Halti showed admirable teamwork and commitment. Although lead man Petri Forsman was sick with fever, it didn't stop the phenomenal Finns, as for the second year running, they once again proved invincible.
Central Finland boasts some of the largest unspoilt wilderness in Europe, with countless forest-covered valleys and glacial lakes. It's an outdoor adventure playground. 1 year on from their victory in Dali, there's been time for the Outdoor Quest champions to reflect on past achievements, as well as looking forward to a future which will see many changes.
First time it was a very big surprise for us to win, and last year we noticed already before the race we have a good team and we have a chance to win again. The team have changed a little bit from the last year. We was thinking we will maybe have same team this year in the mile 7, and now it looks maybe I will be maybe the only one same person in the team. And Merja have get child in June, so Elina will replace Merja. She is also cross-country skier like Merja was, so I think she will be fine. Mika have been very ill, and we don't know if he can compete in mile 7, but we hope he will be good.
If Mika Hirvonen is unable to join the team, Mikko Vermas will be his replacement. For the Finns, training is serious business, and variety is crucial if the team are to remain both physically and mentally fresh. Orienteering provides the perfect opportunity to improve teamwork. These unique scooters give them a chance to compete against each other. And competition is what the Finns really love.
It's a very competitive race, so that's what I like in that race. I like mile 7 when you have to push all the time, very fast.
And if you really want to push hard, how about this for a training exercise?
I hope it was okay with camera. It was hard. Steep. Windy.
Most teams have at least one strength and some weaknesses, but the fantastic Finns are good at just about everything.
I think our team is not very special good in any discipline. I think we are we are quite good in every discipline. Not best in any one, but quite good in every discipline. That's a strength, I think. We will do some rope training and these special things what we need in Mild 7 we are doing together, but I think we will almost do training by ourselves.
Thanks to an added sponsor, Team Halti has become Team Nokia Adventure. But whatever the name, the rest of the field will be understandably apprehensive of them. The new members seem to have slotted into Petri Forsman's system perfectly, and they'll need to. As champions, the Finns are now a target for every other team. In the rarefied atmosphere of Lijiang, the rest of the adventure racing world will be following Halti's every move.
High altitude training. I think the three strongest team will be the Spanish Red Bull. They are very strong. Eco Internet, and that team where Paul and Nebu Fraser will compete. They are also very, very good. But we have to do many races this summer. And I feel very confident. I know we are in good shape and everything is okay.
Petri Forsman's laid-back attitude is deceptive. When the race begins, the champions will be ready for the challenge.
One of the biggest challenges to Nokia Adventure's chances of making it 3 titles in a row for Finland will come from Team Venture 4. 3 of whom are close neighbours in the Carlsbad area north of San Diego. If they are to beat the Finns, they'll have to display not just physical toughness, but a different type of inner strength.
Mild 7 is a very intense race, being that it's a stage race. You really demand a lot of your body. Many of the segments with the transitions, you have to go all out and really take yourself to that limit. So therefore, you're really taxing your muscles, your nerves. And this is a way that we have found to, in essence, bring ourselves back to a state of equilibrium, in a sense. We are able to rest our nerves, our muscles, and it stimulates regeneration. Along with our nutrition program, we found this is a very effective way for us to regenerate and get back to the line the next day and feel fresh, relatively fresh, and go hard again the next day.
In Dali last year, Mark Cicada's team went very hard, pushing the leaders until problems with dehydration on day 4 put an end to their challenge, leaving them in 4th place. This year, Venture 4 are determined to improve on that result, and their training has been specifically aimed at the course in Lijiang.
We try to focus our training specifically to the race itself. So China, we know it's going to be in altitude. We know there's going to be a lot of hills. So we're training for hill climbs, running also, a lot of kayaking, so we'll focus on kayaking. And then the altitude factor is a big factor for us since we live here on sea level. And we've been doing some research and finding out what can we do to get our bodies ready for altitude. You know, it's definitely a big factor, and a lot of teams need to be aware of that.
Harold Zundel is one of the toughest competitors in adventure racing, and teammate Bettina Ernst, an Olympic gymnast at the 1984 Los Angeles Games, is one of the strongest women ever to have raced in the outdoor quest. But with the competition becoming keener every year, the team has to train harder than ever before. No easy task when you also work full-time.
When you are working fully professional, training becomes the sugar at the end of the day. And for us, this is really an enjoyment. And this trip to China, to go, to see this culture, to be in this landscape, this is one of the biggest treats. On the other hand, maybe we skip movies. You know, we really need to be disciplined to bring this in our day. But I mean, for us, it's a big treat to be part in this whole adventure racing world.
Despite the fact that the 4th member of their team is far away in Luxembourg, Venture 4 believe that one factor is perhaps the most crucial in determining who will be the champions: teamwork.
Without a doubt, there's some stellar athletes that are here. Without a doubt, this has become a true world-class event. You can see in the in the athletic roster. It's just impeccable. But what's going to really be interesting is how well these people are able to work as a team, as a unit, as cohesion. And you'll see that drama play out there without a doubt, and that'll play a major role in how this race turns out. One advantage that we have, although we may not be professional athletes that have all the time in the world, we have been training and working and racing together for so long that we know our nuances. We know when each one of us is having a problem, a bad day, our strengths, weaknesses, and with that, I think, comes a great deal of strength as a team, as a unit.
Preparations for this year's race began more than a year ago, but the course itself really began to take shape last March, when a group, including race director Murphy Reinschreiber and technical director Ian Adamson, visited Yunnan province to see what the area had to offer. The answer, as they found, was just about everything.
Lijiang is absolutely spectacular. It has one of the deepest gorges in the world, twice as deep as the Grand Canyon. It has towering snow-capped mountains and permanent glacier and deep pine forests and arid lands around it. I mean, it covers almost all the climate zones, and it creates an environment where you can do anything you pretty much want. And our main problem setting the course is the vast amount of choice.
But a new venue brings its own challenge for the organisers.
The very nature of adventure racing is that we have to create a new adventure every year. And that means that we use a different race course every year. So we don't have the luxury of races like the New York City Marathon or the Ironman Triathlon or other major races where they have the same experience on the same race course for 15 or 20 years or more. So those events can get into a comfort level on those race courses. We don't have that comfort level. Every year we have to reinvent the wheel.
Using detailed maps, Ian Adamson and Assistant Technical Director Cameron Jenks travelled hundreds of miles across the area around Lijiang. But as they discovered, maps don't always tell the whole story. Part of the proposed route was along a fast-flowing section of the Yangtze. But first, Ian and Cameron would need to find out just how fast the water was. With Murphy Reinschreiber waiting anxiously at the rendezvous point, the two men finally emerged, tired and wet, after 4 hours of white-knuckle excitement. As their damaged kayak indicated, this stretch of river would not be featuring in this year's outdoor quest.
Doable? If you got rafts with raft guides, it'd be fantastic. It would be just a killer course. But for these things, not a hope. No way. No way. You'd have some drowners for sure. He's initiated now.
But after nearly 2 weeks of travelling, the course plan was complete. The quest would finish at nearly 5,000 metres above sea level on the beautiful Jade Dragon Snow Mountain.
Brilliant. It's bloody brilliant. It's got a bit of everything here. Some seriously big glaciers and there's monolithic rocks.
But before they reached their final goal, the teams would enjoy 4 days of the longest, toughest and most beautiful outdoor quest so far.
Day one will begin in Lijiang with a run of 4 kilometers through the scenic streets of the old city. After a mental agility test, the athletes will get on their mountain bikes and cycle nearly 10 kilometers to a lake where they'll paddle in native boats with their bikes to the far side, a distance of 3.8 kilometers. Back on their bikes, they'll travel 35 kilometers to the first bend of the Yangtze River and set off on an adventure run and river ford before paddling 45 kilometers along the Yangtze to the spectacular Tiger Leaping Gorge. They'll then run out along the gorge and back before biking to a hilly off-road running trail that will really test the athletes' legs. After more than 8 hours, the leaders should arrive at the Yunnan temple finish. For every team, it will be a challenging start to the race.
Day 2 features all 7 sports for the first time. The action takes place around the picturesque Tuanshan Reservoir and begins with a 16-kilometre team biathlon. Everyone will be keen to reach the transition to the 5-kilometre kayak leg first to keep out of the crowds. On return to the shore, there's a 16-kilometre skate-in store before getting back into the reservoir, this time on native boats. The 16-kilometre mountain bike trail that follows is steep and technical. And the adventure run and zip line that comes next isn't for the faint-hearted. Finally, there's an 11-kilometre run back into Lijiang. It may only take 5.5 hours, but it will be fast and furious.
If day 2 is a relative sprint, then day 3 is a marathon. It begins with an early morning alarm call for a 3-hour drive to the start line and a Le Mans-style race to the kayaks for a 30-kilometre paddle on Chung Lake. A hilly run follows to the mountain bike transition and a 31-kilometre fast ride to the Yangtze. A beautiful 12-kilometre run and an invigorating zip line follows before the athletes take a deep breath and mount up again for a tough 60-kilometre ride back to Lijiang. The longest day in Outdoor Quest history finishes with a 14-kilometre skate to the Hong Kong Monument.
The final day is a fitting climax, a challenging ascent to Jade Dragon Snow Mountain. It begins at the beautiful Blue Pond with a steep 6.8-kilometre run up to the Yak Meadow, followed by adventure in the shape of a cargo net climb. Then comes a team biathlon of 11 kilometres to the lower cable car station. From there, it's just 5 kilometres to the finish. But what are 5 kilometres? More than 1,200 metres of elevation that will require the athletes to carry oxygen. Whoever wins this year's Outdoor Quest will have to overcome some enormous challenges. But the race is not just about the winners. Whoever takes part in Lijiang this year will take home memories of 4 unforgettable days.
Of all the teams in the field at the Outdoor Quest, there is one that the local fans look to more than any other. Team Mild 7. And last year they performed well in a tough field, finishing appropriately in 7th place, easily the best Asian team. This year the aim is to do even better. The candidates for selection started their training program back in April, under the eagle eyes of race veterans Rock Frey and Paul Huddle. Their aim is to make sure their chargers get the maximum out of their preparation.
Team Mild 7, they look pretty strong all the way around. They have good running ability, good cycling ability. It looks like their paddling ability is getting better. I think they will need to actually become stronger cyclists and paddlers for MSOQ this year. That will really help them.
The 6 hopefuls have been spending plenty of time training in the mountains outside Beijing. Most are former race walkers or long-distance runners, so the priority is to practice the variety of challenges that the Outdoor Quest presents to the athlete. Some, of course, are more familiar with the requirements than others. Team Mild 7 captain Zhang Haibo is an old hand.
I have taken part in the Mild 7 Outdoor Quest for 3 years now. I think the most important thing is not the medal. The important thing is to prove yourself, to challenge your limits, and to perform to your full potential. The chance to fulfill yourself is what is so good.
Haibo's experience is useful to the rest, only 2 of whom were in last year's squad.
The most important thing is teamwork. The team includes both men and women. And I must emphasize that I feel that interpersonal relationships and feelings between people are especially important. We can overcome any of the difficulties if we work as a team. There is, after all, a Chinese proverb that says, strength through teamwork.
An especially important question is the selection of Team Mild 7's female athlete. Last year, former marathon runner Zhang Hongzhu was the pick. She's back in the frame this time round.
At the moment I feel very nervous because the competition is coming soon. And this year the competition route is longer than it has been in the past. We will train in Dali for 40 days. We have sufficient preparation and we hope we can improve our final position.
Another member of last year's team is Haibo's twin brother, Zhang Jiangbo. And having such a close relationship can only be good for the team.
My brother took part in the first Mild 7 outdoor quest, and through the TV and other media, I came to know this wonderful competition. We are twins, and because of that, we complement each other very well. I can understand what he wants simply with a glance, and he is the same, even in ordinary life.
The final team gets selected just before the event, after a 40-day camp in last year's venue, Dali. Whoever gets chosen, Team Mild 7 know that as the local favourites, they'll have the eyes of China upon them.
There are a lot of advantages. There is a proverb, the time, the place, the people. Because the competition is happening in China, the locals will be very supportive to Team Mild 7.
And perhaps this year, the local supporters will get the champions they really want.
You wouldn't normally associate Shanghai with the great outdoors. One of the world's largest cities, it has been the centre of China's building boom. Urbanisation has eaten into the countryside. Green fields given way to huge office blocks. Cars are replacing bikes, and the Huangpu River has more cargo ships than ever. Yet even here, preparations for the race are in full swing. Team Shanghai will be lining up in Lijian, and Wei Wei, one of last year's participants, is taking every opportunity to practice, even along the crowded Bund.
We've had 1 year, and we've worked very hard during that year, so I think we can do better. The competition this year will be totally different to last. And this year, I think we've improved a lot in our weak items. We can certainly do better.
As the outdoor quest draws closer, training preparations become more intense.
I think that training at home is a very good thing. I think it gives my life some meaning and also makes my life regular. That's something that makes me a great deal healthier as well.
Home to Wei Wei is a flat shared with his parents in Shanghai's sprawling suburbs. It seems a long way from the beautiful scenery of the quest. But while his memories of last year's race may be fond, they're also tinged with regret. Because of illness, Gui Ting, Shanghai's female athlete, had to withdraw. That meant the team were unable to complete the course. Although the rest of the team went on for fun, this year can only be an improvement.
In the Mild 7 outdoor quest, my favourite discipline is the kayaking. We do better in this than anything else, and I feel certain we can do it well. It's also very exciting and pleasurable.
Wei Wei, like all Team Shanghai's participants, is a member of the city's rowing squad. That gives them an advantage in one of the 7 disciplines. But there's a lot more to the quest than having one specialist skill.
I like the kayaking, of course, and also the mountain climbing. Kayaking for me is interesting and exciting, while in mountain climbing you can challenge yourself to the limit. You can also exercise your mind. You can become mentally strong. Doing mountain climbing well means that you can always overcome difficulties. The final advantage of mountain climbing is that the scenery is always very beautiful. When you climb, you feel happy to be alive.
Team Shanghai may not be among the favourites, but they'll be worthy participants in China's greatest adventure challenge.
After watching the CD and seeing the snow-capped mountains, it's made me want to work even harder in order to achieve success. But I think only through hard work can I be confident that we can do well.
Try telling them they're only there to make up the numbers. For Murphy Reinschreiber, the trip to Lijiang in March was just one facet of the organisation of the outdoor quest. He has a year-round mission to keep up with the latest developments in adventure racing, not least in the area of equipment.
It's real important that we stay up on products for a couple of reasons. The first is from a rules standpoint, technology always impacts our rules, and we want Mild 7 Outdoor Quest to be contested on a fair ground for everyone.
This also means searching the globe for the latest and best equipment available. But Murphy isn't the only member of the team to be working throughout the year. Like the athletes themselves, the organisation is spread around the world. And with every detail from transport to accommodation and food to be sorted out before the competitors arrive, efficient communication is essential.
In a lot of ways, we've grown up with the internet. We couldn't have done it 5 years ago or 6 years ago, but it just coincided with the growth of the internet and email, and that's worked out perfectly for us because almost the entire event is organized by means of email. We have people in New Zealand, in Northern California, and other parts of the world, and then of course the television staff's in London, and then the core staff's in Hong Kong. So what we've done in order to make sure that we all communicate easily and completely on all points is literally to put the entire event down on email.
If you're looking to get away from it all, then Christchurch, New Zealand, is as good a place as any. The rush of modern life may not be too much in evidence here, but it was modern technology that brought two of the city's most famous residents into contact with the outdoor quest. Scott Molina and Erin Baker are two of the biggest names in triathlon, having both won the Ironman World Championship. But the couple have only ever raced as individuals.
We've never actually competed as a team where you do it together. So that's something that would have been natural, it seems, years and years ago, but we just never got the opportunity to do it.
Thousands of miles away in Fort Collins, Colorado, two veteran American racers were planning to change all that. Barry Siff and Liz Caldwell of Team Friction Free have travelled the world taking part in races like the Eco Challenge. But they were looking for a new adventure.
Okay.
But before they could persuade the organisers that they should be amongst the starters in Lijiang, they had one slight problem to overcome. Who would make up the other half of their team?
We had the opportunity to race in Mild 7, and we were looking for a couple of teammates and kind of searched the triathlon backgrounds, but wanted someone of our generation, someone with a little bit of maturity, and someone who wanted to have fun. And so we emailed Scott and Erin and told them what this sport was all about.
Okay. How's that? Fine. Oh, here's one from Barry. Yeah.
You get on the email, him 20 times a day, me twice, you check your emails. I don't know, always thinking there might be something in there, something exciting, something, I don't know, something. And this was one of those somethings.
Team Friction Free will be one of the most unusual groups at the race, and not only because the two halves will never have met until they fly into Hong Kong en route to Lijiang. They'll also be the only entrants with 2 female athletes, and with an average age of 41, easily the oldest adventurers on the start line.
For us, it's a sprint race. There's no question that Liz and I are going to have to go as hard as we can throughout the entire race.
Yeah, it's going to be quick. The pacing is going to be interesting. This is like nothing that we've done before. All of our races are very long and continuous, so being able to stop is going to really make it quite different, I think.
It all depends on how fast Scott and Erin can tow us.
We've never met, know very little about, except for that they've done heaps of these things, and we've done none. So we're just going to defer to their expertise and let them tell us what we need to do.
Yeah, and hope they don't think that we're going to tow them through.
With no one quite sure what to expect, the team are simply getting on with training for the race. Thousands of miles apart maybe, but with the same goals in mind.
We're seasoned, we have the endurance base, and we're going in with a great attitude. I think Scott, Erin, Liz and I all know our limits and are looking to have a great time at it.
I think you'll see that as the older team, we understand how to have fun and just relax and not take it quite as seriously maybe as some of the younger teams do.
When Erin Baker and Scott Molina ruled the triathlon world, it was all about winning. But already they've discovered that the outdoor quest is about much more than that.
I think that's one of the appeals of this event, is that you're there long enough to appreciate it. You're not racing all day and all night. You know, you have time to have breakfast and look around.
Yeah, we look at adventure racing as the entire experience, and the big part of that experience is going to beautiful places, and we're really excited about going to China.
One man definitely not going just to admire the scenery is Team Red Bull Buff's Antonio de la Rosa. The Spanish firefighter and his team are one of the favourites for the title in Lijiang. After 11 years in one of Madrid's elite forces, Antonio is recognised as one of the most formidable team captains in the race. When you have spent a lifetime fighting fires, the pressures of adventure racing are less demanding than they may be for others. Antonio also has one of the perfect occupations for staying in shape, both physically and mentally.
In the Madrid Fire Department, you work a 24-hour shift and then you have 2 days off. This allows me to prepare for the Mild 7 outdoor quest. In this way, I can have 2 full days of training, and on top of that, I have the possibility when I'm at work, when we don't have an emergency or we're checking equipment, to use the gym, to go on the bike or run on the treadmill. It's a job that obliges you to stay in form.
A perfect profession and perfect surroundings in the Sierra north of Madrid allow Antonio and Nerea Urizola to train together in a variety of disciplines. The other half of the team, the Torres brothers, Miguel and Jose, live in Granada, and it's rare that all 4 get together unless competing.
I think the kayaking is basically our weakest point. I'm the only one who's done it at a competition level, while the Torres brothers and Nerea have only just started. They've only done it for 2 years, and in the other teams, people are very good at kayaking. I think this will definitely be our weak point. On the other hand, we've got a number of strong points, including mountain biking and running. I think that's definitely our strongest point.
One of the main fortes of the all-Spanish crew is that the team have been unchanged for the last 3 years, making them the only ever presence since the outdoor quest began. In 1997, they gained an impressive 3rd. 98 was a disappointing 10th. But last year's 3rd place was once again claimed by the Spanish foursome. Don't bet against Red Bull improving on that performance in Lijiang. After 3 years, the most experienced captain in the race knows exactly what it takes to reach the line first.
I
think the Mile 7 Outdoor Quest is the most difficult of all the outdoor and adventure races. And to win it, you need to be physically very strong and to have a little bit of luck during the race. That means that none of your team gets sick and you don't have physical problems. It's 4 days of high-intensity competition. All the teams are of a good standard, and they'll all be within minutes of each other. It's important not to mess up one day. You have to be consistent to win the Mile 7.
In the heart of California's Silicon Valley, San Jose is at the cutting edge of modern technology. But for at least 4 local residents, the .com world is a million miles away, as their livelihood depends on a more ancient invention, the wheel.
Pedicabs themselves weigh about 180 pounds, and these are really the lightest, probably most technologically advanced pedicabs in the world. They've got 21 gears, they've got grip shifts. One of the benefits of this is it has a disc brake, just like a car would have. So we got this, plus my skin bag weighs about 180 pounds, and we can take up to about 400 pounds in the back, and that's 2 to 3 people, depending on what size they are. But really the heaviest that we've had in the back has been about 200-300-pound women. It's like pedaling uphill with like a sack of bricks on you.
Dorsey Moore and Mike Prindeville are making their first foray into international adventure racing. But they, along with the other 2 members of San Jose Pedicab, aren't short of confidence as they keep the wheels turning before their adventure in Lijiang.
I think we've set some aggressive goals. And you got to set goals at several levels, because with adventure racing, you really never know what to expect. I think if you take a look at the different races we've done, you don't know when you start what's going to happen. So our first goal would just be to be competitive. It's easy to go into a race like this on day 1 and be very excited, but you got to look at teams on day 3 and day 4. Are they going to be excited? We may be in 20th place on day 3, but if we have that excitement, I think we can pick up a lot of teams. I think conservatively we're looking at maybe top 10, but we really won't know until we get there and we see the competition.
The team will be one of the least experienced at the race, but they have one great advantage. When you have a backdrop like this against which to train, it's not too difficult to find motivation for even the toughest workout.
California is like an adventure athlete's dream. You've got everything here. You've got the ocean, you've got redwood mountains, you've got high desert, you've got altitude, you've got sea level. You've got really everything you can do. There's great rock climbing, mountain biking, trail running, everything.
While some might be just a little jealous at the scenery the Californian team can train in, the pedicab riders themselves are keen to board their flight to Lijiang for what they are viewing as the trip of a lifetime.
I'm really looking forward to the cultural experience. I've never been to China. This is just an amazing opportunity for someone from the United States to compete in China, to meet a lot of the other athletes. I really like to know about everyone else's background, just to bond with some of these people. It's really an amazing event to bring together all these teams from all these different areas, and we're really excited.
But until they pack their bags for Lijiang, Team San Jose Pedicab have plenty of hard work ahead of them if they're to achieve their goals.
In a field of amazing athletes at the Outdoor Quest, no one can match the pedigree of Sheila Taormina. The 31-year-old American has one possession that marks her out as a very special talent: an Olympic gold medal.
Maybe the crowd doesn't sound too loud right now to you, but when you're in that natatorium and there's 15,000 people screaming for the USA, I was just thinking, oh my gosh.
An Olympic gold in the 4x200 relay in Atlanta has made Sheila a celebrity in her hometown of Livonia, Michigan. There she contributes to the community by serving on the local Parks Commission. Just 2 years after retiring from swimming, Sheila took up triathlon with amazing results. At the Sydney Olympics, she finished 6th after leading for the first part of the race. The outdoor quest will be her first foray into adventure racing, and she can't wait to get going.
I think it's the whole team concept. I love the thought of working with 3 other people and supporting each other, and someone might be having a great day on the run but need a little help and encouragement on the bike, and I just love situations like that. So when the guys on the team called to invite me, I said, wow, that won't interfere with any of my competition for triathlon, even if I make the team, because they had asked me before I even had made the Olympic team. And so I said, yeah, definitely. Well, then when I made the Olympic team, they called me and said, are you still in on this? I'm like, of course.
Since her outstanding performance in Sydney, Sheila has been concentrating on learning the new skills she needs for adventure racing, aided by her teammates, 2 of whom are from the US Navy's Elite SEAL unit. No one will work harder in training than the Olympic champion, but she is still planning to enjoy every minute of her race.
I've never done one, so I don't know just how focused. Certain parts of the race, obviously, you won't. You'll be really focused on the technical or making sure you don't fall off a mountainside somewhere. But yeah, I would think there's going to be parts where you can just say, look at where we are. This is the time of my life to take advantage of all these wonderful opportunities. I consider myself so blessed to go and see different cultures and landscapes and people, and it's exciting. I mean, I can't turn down great opportunities like this.
For someone who achieved a top 10 Olympic finish just 2 years after taking up triathlon, Sheila Taormina is justifiably confident that she can meet the challenge of the outdoor quest.
The things I'll have to work on would be the inline skating, the kayaking, and then I want to work with our team on the adventure skills. And I know one of our team members has done quite a few of these races, and he'll have a good idea of what types of skills we need to know. So I really feel like, even though right now I wouldn't be ready to do that race if you threw me in it today, but you give me a month, which will be the month of October, to work with these 3 guys, and I think I won't find any of it daunting. I'll just be completely excited and having a great, grand old time out there with them.
Just 1 place behind Sheila Taormina in Sydney was Isabelle Mouton of France. Isabelle and twin sister Beatrice, who finished further down the Olympic field, will be in separate teams at the outdoor quest. The 2 Olympic triathletes are also having to learn new skills, like trail running.
Physically, it's easier on the trail because you are slower, but mentally you have to be concentrated, always to watch where you're going to put your feet, and you always have to be to keep concentrate, not to watch around, just to look at your feet and watch where you put your feet on.
One big difference to Sydney is the altitude of Lijiang. The sisters have been putting in plenty of time at the French high-altitude training centre in the Pyrenees.
When you are training in altitude, you have to know to be very patient and to be very slow the first days to get acclimated. And even when you are acclimated, you have to keep to slow your pace. You can't run as fast as in no altitude place.
Another link between the Olympic triathlon and the outdoor quest is the cycling. But it's mountain bikes in China and a very different rate of progress. Some of the off-road trails can be challenging enough to test the athlete's courage and decision-making on when to apply the brakes.
Not to brake too hard, sometimes to brake, but not every time. You have to brake at the last moment. With this bike, we brake with the front brakes, but I think for the My 7 we'll brake with the back brake. If you brake with the front,
Swimming, of course, is the other discipline in the triathlon. And while a different form of skill with water will be required for China, the multi-talented twin athletes look capable of adapting to anything. It will have been quite a year for the twins. An Olympic Games, followed by their first adventure race, has certainly helped them raise their profile in France. They might soon find many more fans queuing up for autographs in Lijiang. But does anything about the outdoor quest faze them?
For me, the big challenge will be to do a good rollerblading, because I do not know yet how to rollerblade, but I will, because it's my goal. Just after the Olympics, I will learn how to rollerblade. I don't think it will be a problem, because I love skating, cross-country skating, and it looks the same.
For the Mouton twins and Sheila Taormina, the Olympics is over. Ahead lies a new adventure in which to write their names in the record book.
In just a few weeks, the world's greatest adventurers will be at the start line in Lijiang for the outdoor quest. There'll be drama, surprises, personal triumphs and downfalls, and we'll be there to bring you the full story.